Good day, everybody. Happy to see you guys here. Happy that you're listening to this video. Let's jump right in because we have a week with multiple landmines and a lot of turbulences as we go along this trip. So let's see what we're up to. I decided to do the video today because of two reasons. The first one, it was the Mother's Day in Canada here, so I celebrated and took time off the charts to be with my mother. It took a while. It's been a while since I've seen her, and it took a lot of me to be able to see her. My relationship with her has not been the best over the years, so I'm trying to be a good son. So I took out some time on my on my agenda to see her and my family. And the second reason is because today we didn't had any major news, so I wanted to see. I wanted to also see and also give you guys the opportunity to be independent. I know I've mentioned a couple times that when there's no news Monday, I usually don't trade a lot. I take very small positions and call it a day, and it's what I had in mind. And I've been an ICT student for over a year, so I know what it's like when you have someone telling you a roadmap in the market, like I'm doing with you. It's amazing. It feels very good. It's incredible to see someone else catching some stuff that you saw, and also getting other stuff that you maybe missed. So all of that comes into certainty, right? It gives you a little bit more confidence when you go into the week. And I've noticed my growth has been the biggest when I've stopped watching ICT. Like when I took a break, not when I completely stopped. I sometimes go back to some content he dropped, but the biggest learnings, and I say that because truly it's psychologically the biggest advancements that I've made psychologically has been when he was not there. When he would make videos on Sunday, and then all of a sudden 1 week he would stop. He would just do nothing, ghost, go on vacation, or say nothing and just share a trade with you. So it leaves you guys like, what? Did you leave me? Did you abandon me? Why did you share that trade idea? So that's what I'm gonna try to do this week, because we have a lot of landmines. We have a lot of mines in the path. So I'll try to give you a little bit more independence. I will not be as active. I will force myself to not be as active. I wish I truly want to help you guys. It's not that I don't want to help you guys. I will be burning with the desire to help you and answer your questions, but it's likely that I want to see you ask yourself, what would Brandon do? What would he think? What would Super ICT would do? What would ICT do? What would a professional, profitable trader that has been profitable for years would do right now? You know the answer is obvious. It's kind of obvious, and then the demon in your shoulder is telling you, well, it's not that obvious. Maybe you could trade. Maybe you could do 1 or 2 trades, or maybe you could be green and call it a day. Yeah, okay, it's all possible. I'm not gonna tell you that it's a lie, but if you're following the mentorship, I kind of know where you guys are at as far as as far as your development. So I think this will be good for you guys, as far as your development psychologically. And please do not seek another external source of validation. You will fuck the objective of this video. So today, nothing. Tomorrow, PPI and Powell. These kind of events, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Keep that in mind. CPI, same thing. CPI, PPI, all of these can be ruthless with your stop loss. And we also have unemployment claims on Thursday. So we have 3 consecutive days in the middle of the week that are gonna give some volatility. Let's keep that in mind as a narrative. But don't forget the structure of price. So let's go. As you can see, weekly charts for the XY, 10-year yields, the ES, the NQ. Let's start with the XY. Okay, I'll put it on full screen just so that your focus is 100% here. We have this weekly bullish fair value gap. The bodies are doing well right now. It's respecting the order flow that we had since January, the bull run. Kind of like a small bull run on the dollar. And if you go on the daily chart, well, you might be confused. You might say, well, couldn't respect this fair value gap. We're dabbing into this one. Shut up. Go into your weekly chart, and it's still in range. I am still bullish on the dollar. You guys know I have a target around here. Let me show you a little bit more lipstick. I have a target, which is this void. You will not be able to see it on the weekly time frame, but there's a liquidity void here that we touched to a tick a month ago, and then we just retraced. And I think this news week is gonna propose us to the void. I have this level unnoted. I have this level unnoted for scalp purposes, for low hanging fruit purposes. So I would not necessarily tell you. I think what I'm trying to say is that not everything that is on your chart is a model. PD arrays are not models. You cannot trade necessarily based on PD arrays. Keep that in mind. So bullish on the dollar. I think a good pump would be juicy. On the daily, we have volume imbalances. We dabbed into this. Be more precise. We dab into this to the thick here on Friday. Today we just failed to get higher. We opened and closed here. Still in the range. Nothing extremely out of the ordinary. We have also this one, but I will not put it. It will be too much. But as you can see on the open, we went a little bit. Let me put it on the 15. On the open, we had a bullish run, kind of at 10 a.m. Overnight, since London was a melt, and since New York, we had a recapture of the 8:30 opening price. So you can see how 8:30 and midnight are important as far as the dollar. Keep that in mind. It was used as a magnet. If you trade the dollar, TP here, nothing out of the ordinary. We're bullish, TP, low-hanging fruit, all good. Bullish on the DXY. Remember the weekly chart. US 10 yields, same story. We have this weekly fair value gap. Last week we just consolidated. Nothing much of a movement. A little wick. This week, same thing. We just went a little bit below consequent encroachment of the weekly fair value gap at 9 a.m., which we then bounced from. Created a liquidity void here. And then we are here about to recapture new week opening gap, which is this thing. I've mentioned in a previous video that yields, bonds, and currency don't move the same as indices. So you're not gonna read exactly the same liquidity void on the yields as it would be on the NQ, for example. So do not take this as an extremely important level. It's gonna happen a lot, but it can act the same way. I'm just telling you, it's not gonna act exactly the same way all the time, but at the right time, it will act in the same way. Wink, wink. Let's go on to the ES, because it had a little bit something I wanted to show you guys. So, weekly chart. Again, we're still on the pump, which blasted through this mitigation here. If we go on to the daily chart, we have a consolidation here, an inversion daily fair value gap here, which I had used on the NQ to cause some shorts, the melt, which I scalped. Nonetheless, the daily candle that we had right now bounced from another daily fair value gap here. We touched consequent encroachment to the thick, easy bread and butter, recapture, and then closed. We're consolidating since Friday on this range, which is pretty normal since today we had also no news. And on Friday, well, it was the action prior to a no news Monday. And the narrative of the weekly, if you see, it was expansion. If I'm gonna be accurate on my terms, to me it seems like this is a manipulation. We'll see how we react to the news. I'm not convinced about either side, but my narrative remains bearish. Even though the structure is indicating higher prices since this NFP action, which propelled us. If you recall, this was around NFP. We had NFP and it started the pump. As you can see, we had this massive wick. And then we had the pump. So if Powell and the PPI, as you can see, the calendar event cancels this move, we'll be in big business, which is what I'm expecting. I do see a probability of getting these highs. In any ways, keep in mind that I'm scalping. So the swings are paper trade. My scalping does not reflect my swings. My scalping is extremely adaptive. I teach something on the paper account and I teach a different thing on the copy, on the PAs, and on my narrative analysis as I go intraday, which you can get in the private mentorship. This video will be available for everybody, but as you can see, you get a weekly thesis and then you're out, which can be good and bad. Of course, if you're in the private mentorship, you have a larger advantage because you can ask questions and you have the team that is there to help you. So keep in mind the action of ES while we analyze NQ. Before going to NQ, I just wanted to show you a little something that I found pretty interesting. Let's go into this. As you can see, we had a weekly fair value gap here. Weekly busy, I would call. Busy because the size is very small, because it's a buy side imbalance, right? Sell side inefficiency. If we go into the daily chart, we'll wick through it again multiple times. We close on it again multiple times. I call this a balanced price range. Okay, and as you can see, the wicks are extremely precise. Just give a little mohawk here, just dabbing into it, and to me it tells a lot. I'm curious to see how we're gonna act during the news, because it could be a great catalyst for me as far as the short swings. It would be fun To see that I was able to call a month-long narrative on the markets would be insane for me. I'm not claiming I'm ICT right now. I'm super ICT. I've learned some stuff. I'm pushing it to the next level on some terms, but I'm also not. I don't have the 30 years of experience, so I might be wrong. At the end of the day, I'm learning. You're learning. We're making sure to progress, and bread and butter will come. Let's go into the NQ. A lot of things to show. I'll just hide this for now. Actually, no. You know what? I'll show you. As you can see, we left a lot of volume imbalances on the downside. This is the weekly chart. We left one volume imbalance here, one volume imbalance here. We dabbed into this volume imbalance last week. If we take the weekly range that we had prior to this melt, which was a market maker sell model, we will find by taking the high and the low, the original consolidation. You will find that consequent encroachment is here. I will give a shout out to Lavin in the private mentorship, which also called this level. It's a level I had mentioned when we were around here. You might not recall, I think it was in under the chat, but I called it weeks ago. Because this was the beginning of this melt, as you can see. This melt initiated here, and now we dabbed into it here. We're very close. Let's see. As far as the weekly, let's keep these volume imbalances here. To me, it seems like price will want to dab into them. Of course, dabbing does not mean closing on them, but if it can close down them, maybe close near the buy side liquidity that we had as all-time highs in 2021, it will be very good for me, and I will completely change in scalp shorts. Now I'm taking both. I'm trading the dealing range, so I'm trading both sides, and it's been going well. I know I don't need to hold a strong bias to make money. So that's what I'm doing right now. And since Friday, we jumped a little, but again, a little bit more bullish than ES. We gapped up a little bit higher. Let me delete this thing. And we're here. Buy some liquidity, just in case we want to dive into this turtle soup and melt. That would be my narrative as far as this week. It's not high prob, but it could happen. Let's see how we react to the news. Let's see how Powell does anything. All these levels are important. As you can see, when I scalp, I don't see a lot of things. I just keep the important levels. Midnight and then 30. Friday, you can clearly see that midnight closed the bodies above it. And that the original consolidation, which is this zone, was not able to be pierced. Today, Monday, no news. You got frustrated if you traded today. If you traded today and you got your ass handed to you, remember, one trading day does not mean your career. One trading day is just one trading day. We win and we learn in this community. Thank you for being here. I'll see you inside. Good luck.